Hi, everybody. It's Legal, and I have something that's on my mind that I just wanted to share. And frankly, it's been on my mind since the last video that I recorded. And it was during the recording that I kind of had this light bulb that I revisited later when I was watching it and thought, "Oh my God, there's more here. This isn't just a component of a story. I want to keep digging." And that is around the really high standards that I had set. If you haven't watched that video, it was about a time that I had let self-doubt get in the way of something that was very achievable, and I just didn't show up. And it was because I had set these really high standards that when I was watching it unfold, I realized that the other people didn't have. And so then I started thinking, well, so often it's not just the self doubt. We can sometimes feel very negatively about ourselves that decreases our chances, but it's also the fact that we have set really high standards. So they go together, and that you don't think you're capable, but then you can't even achieve these really high standards that you've set. But meanwhile, there's a whole world of other people that will just go for it. They'll do the thing. They won't let their standards or inefficiencies or whatever get in the way. They will go and they will go grab that thing. And I wanted to kind of dig and go, well, what is that? Why? And frankly, my answer is the word input. And I know that kind of sounds, I don't know, techie and cheesy, but it's so true. Because at the end of the day, as human beings, our whole world is the input of our surroundings. It's the input from the relationships, the people, the jobs, the bosses, the teachers. It's all of that. And our brain takes in that input and computes it, blah, 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 spits out an algorithm of, hey, Lee, this is what your world should look like. This is the data we've collected, and it's official. This is your world. Well, the problem is that's not reality. It's our reality because it's our brains, it's our minds, and that's all we know. But it's not the actual truth. It's our truth, but it's not the actual truth. There's no defined law or rule of the world as to how things are supposed to be. And that's because the input is coming into our world and it's creating what we think the world should look like. So when we don't go for something, that's because we have really high standards, or we think that we can't do that because of the data that we had seen previously. But meanwhile, there are other people that have no issue going for the opportunity or the role or whatever it is that's in front of them. And frankly, I've come down to two reasons why I think that is. And I think it's important for you to know, because the next time you are struggling with stepping up or stepping into a thing, I want you to take them into consideration, because often we're limiting ourselves only for them to step up. And so we're gonna call her Suzie. So let's say there's a promotion available, or there's a job that's available within your department. They make the announcement, hey, we've got this role, feel free to apply. And you're like, oh God, that sounds great. I think I could do it, but I don't know. And you're hemming and hawing over here. And then meanwhile, Suzie is like back at her desk, type, enter, submitted, resume off. She's like first in line. And you're like, oh, okay. Like, wow, she's really feeling good. And you're like, we do the same job. I could do that. And frankly, I've got these certifications. I'd probably be a better fit. But meanwhile, you're like, I don't know though. Well, now let's think about Suzie and what is different about her. And frankly, it's the fact that her input is different. It has to be, because she is her own individual. And so when that job opportunity becomes available, you guys are literally seeing it differently. maybe Susie didn't have the critical boss that you had at your last job that had certain standards for how things must be done. Or maybe Susie didn't have, something in her childhood that made her more self-critical. I don't know. Everybody's going to be unique. But let's take in consideration that in Susie's reality, she is the most qualified person to do the job, and she's going to step into it. And now you have to consider your reality. And so when you're looking at that opportunity on the line, you can't just consider what you're seeing, but you have to consider what others are seeing too, and really kind of remove the veil from all of it. And then let's go one step further. The person that's also going to be making the decision on on who gets the job, they have their own reality. And so we never know what the other person is thinking, but so often we let our own mind get in our way because it's all we know. And we can't treat it like the truth because there is no such thing, and everybody else is going to have their own perspective. But let's also consider, for a second reason with Suzie, option one is that she just has a different perspective on what this looks like. But option two is maybe she does have the same reality as you, but she's just not going to let it get in her way. And she frankly says, you know what? I don't have all of the things that so-and-so has, but I'm going to try anyway, because why not? Why wouldn't I? And maybe she doesn't struggle with the self-doubt or whatever. And so often, people like Suzie will get the job or the opportunity because there's a group of people that are just frankly too fearful to step into it, or they don't ever apply. I mean, I literally, from my last story, somebody went to Las Vegas on an airplane, had some great times, and because I didn't submit. That was a literal lost opportunity that somebody else got. And how many times in the world have we seen that happen? Or do we know that happens, that just by putting your name in the hat or doing the thing, that then becomes the reason that somebody gets chosen or selected. So I just want to share that with you because so often we will let our own world and our own perception of reality get in the way of what it is that we want to achieve. And on a side note, just to kind of expand on the topic of input and how it can sometimes stand in our way, I'd also like to frame it as something that influences us on a day-to-day basis and how we show up with our friend group or, in the meeting, because we have let those inputs come into our lives. And it's through, it's through your friends, it's through your family, it's through what TV shows you're watching, what news channels you're watching, what are they telling you? Because you're computing it and it's going into your reality. But probably the biggest one is social media. And when you are seeing people do things and act a certain way, that is telling you that, oh, I must do this and act that way too. Or, because if you're following them, you probably like them or are following them for a reason. And they are, by definition, their literal professional title is influencer, because they are literally influencing us and the decisions we make. And so when we allow some of that data to come in, we're using that as our standard. And it's very similar to AI when it's essentially a collective. It's a collection of data from all the different people and all the different resources that are coming in and spitting something back out, but it's from what other people have already done. It's not from your perspective, or it's not your reality. It's a culmination of other people's, hairstyles or skin or outfits or workout routine or, breakfast shake. I don't know. But that will get into our minds as well. And we then often become a byproduct of all of that data. And Not to dog on AI, because I think it is great and helps with a lot of efficiencies, but it just simply gives you an output of what's been done before and doesn't really give breadth and space for creativity and authenticity. So I just wanted to share that as you guys go about your lives, and if you've got a big opportunity on the line. Also, please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to hear more insights like this or stories. And I'm going to be sharing lots of different nuggets all along the way. And if you are looking for a speaker or someone to help you achieve some of the things that you'd like in your life, please feel free to reach out. I am available and would love to help. So I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye.